we're going to get to the most surprising team in a positive sense so far this year. We're not going to put the hater caps on quite yet, but we'll give you a start, Gabe. Who's been the most surprising team to you so far that's been rising up the ranks?
You know, I think for this, I'm mostly West focused because you just look at the whole top of the West and it's like not what you would expect at all. There might have been some people, especially some fans of those teams, that might have expected them to be up there, but seeing Minnesota, Oklahoma City as the top two, and then even for me, the Clippers at three, all three of those, seeing that be the top of the West was very surprising to me. I was a notable Clipper hater last season, and then when they made the Harden trade, I was pretty negative on it. And I definitely did not expect it to work out. And they've been proving me wrong pretty much all season since the first couple games of that trade. So for them to be up there and actually be cemented as like a real title contender after this course, basically been together for like 4 or 5 years and just never hit that level. For them to finally hit their stride like this, that's been a pleasant surprise. And then those top two just both being young teams that really just broke out with young stars and kind of against the odds really went from like 7-8 range. Oklahoma City wasn't even that high. They were in the play-in. And to go all the way to like Oklahoma City not even being in the play-in and all the way up top, and from Minnesota fighting through the play-in to not even being a middle seed but the very top of the conference, super impressive stuff. Like, if you asked me before the season, I'm saying my top three is probably like Denver, Lakers, Suns. So for it to be just none of those three at the top, shocking.
That's fair. Since you took two of my three teams that I wrote down, I'll go to the Eastern Conference. And look, one of our like last episodes before our little hiatus, I talked about we talked about like the Cavs and how they were dealing with a bunch of injuries. We didn't really know. We were talking about Donovan Mitchell trades. That's how like bad we thought it was about to go. And they've been the hottest team in basketball since then, and they're getting a little more healthy now. But man, like the ball that Donovan Mitchell has been playing since then has been MVP caliber, in my opinion. He's been one of the best players in basketball over this 19, 20 game stretch or however long it's been. Jared Allen was playing all-star level basketball. He was really looking like Jared Allen from a couple years ago where he was dominant on the boards, defensively, scoring the ball too. Look, I kind of thought like this was a defining stretch in maybe their future. Now there's still obviously some more stuff that has to be done, especially once we get to the postseason, because that's how we judge this team mainly, and that's how the talks around Donovan Mitchell is going to be, is how successful this team can be in the playoffs. But the ball that they've been playing, they've got guys that have been shooting well. Sam Morrill's been shooting well. Max Strus has been, stepping it up and getting healthy too, with Darius Garland coming back, Mobley coming back. He's been playing really well offensively too. Surprising for me because I thought they were about to fall off a cliff. They were already kind of playing mediocre basketball those first few months. But, man, they look like a team that in the East could maybe make a conference finals run. Like I think there's like maybe 3 teams right now as far as seeding goes that can make a deep run outside of the Celtics, and the Cavs are on that list for me. So they've been surprising mainly over like the last 20 or so games, but they've really picked it up lately.
I like those shows. Cavs and the Timberwolves were my 2 picks as well. Before I get into it, appreciate the support we're already seeing back in chat. Very appreciated. But yeah, Cavs were my primary shout I wanted to give here because I knew the Timberwolves were going to be picked, and deservedly so. The way that the Cavs have been as good as they've been despite the injuries has been the biggest surprise to me. I didn't necessarily would have said that I would have been shocked by them if they were at this point in the season within a regular season context. If they didn't have Darius Garland injury, they didn't have Evan Mobley's injury. And even still, if this team was coming in playing better this year, I would have expected Max Strus's addition, although he's been very good, I would have expected his 3-point shooting to be a lot more of a significant factor as to why they've been so good, despite the fact this has arguably been his worst 3-point shooting season of his career. So the way that they've been so productive has been what's been surprising. Some of the adversity they've had to deal with, the fact that Donovan Mitchell has been as elite as he's been, not that him being elite is surprising, but like you say, Reed, the fact that he's borderline on the edge of some MVP conversations, he's been that good. The fact that Dean Wade's really emerged into being a valuable rotation guy from someone who was very much in and out of the rotation last year, although still limited volume. Okoro's been shooting the three much better. So it's been a lot of adversity and a lot of surprising players that have either performed in a positive or negative light that have made this a very surprising first 2/3 of the year for them.
Yeah, I thought that JB was about to be catching some like hot seat allegations, but after this stretch, just looking at them, I think they're still like a top 3 defense or something, and that's with only 30 games of Evan Mobley at a 53. Looking at the fact that he's missed like 2/5 of their games, it's really just Jared Allen and the rest of them doing a team effort. And then, you talked about Donovan Mitchell Reek and how he was playing at an MVP level. I don't want to do too much spoilers, but he was definitely on my short list of most surprising players, because for them to just be they're like a league average offense, but he's still going out there and just getting it done night in and night out. And that's with, like I said, 30 games of Evan Mobley on the defensive side. On the offensive side, Darius Garland's only played 29. So out of like their big 4 and their big 2 on offense, big 2 on defense, they've had one out on each side and have still just been able to get the job done. That's so impressive.
Yeah, great points. I think we were all kind of in that mindset that if this season doesn't get better, JB probably could have been a coach that might have been gone at some point during the year or definitely after the season was over. But the way they've been playing, like, his job seems safe, man. He finds a way. He just continues to find a way with this team, and got to give him a lot of credit because, I was pretty loud with the hate and we were all very concerned, but, he's got his act together and now the team's really playing well. And I'm excited to see what they can do. So some of the teams in the West that Gabe mentioned, like Minnesota, they were the top team on my list. But mainly because, like, before the season, I had them ranked low, but I was really like, I didn't really know like what their ceiling could possibly be, especially how we saw them play last year, even though there were a lot of injuries. But I'm just kind of concerned like how this all would work out. And even though the offense still hasn't really picked up, that defense is best in the league for a reason. Like, it's been great for a reason. Cat has really improved as this year has gone on. He started off very slow, but he's improved. Rudy Gobert, pretty much runaway defensive player of the year. Anthony Edwards continues to ascend his game as being a young superstar in this league. And they're supporting pieces, man. Like, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's been playing well. Mike Conley's as steady as it gets. I like the Monte Morris addition at the deadline too. So, really shout out to Minnesota because we probably all had that feeling like the first month or so, like, yeah, they're the 1 seed right now, but, Denver might catch them or whatever. They've still been pretty much firmly the 1 seed. They've never been knocked. I think they were knocked down out of it for like one day, and then they got right back to being the 1 seed. So, that they're playing, still high level basketball. So you got to give a big shout out to them. And Chris Finch has been coaching his ass off too.